Welcome back to Wrestling with Ski, at least to work that time. Today we're going to do the weekend recap from Smackdown and Rampage because they both had their good moments. They both had their bad moments. I will say that between the two of them, Roman's one line about him being gone for 1 week and the show's almost as bad as Raw. I think we've all kind of been saying that. I've at least been saying that. People I know have been saying that because it just wasn't right. People couldn't, like the people that they had to talk, couldn't really do it. So that was good. At least, they confirmed it and they knew exactly what we were all talking about. At least they acknowledged the fact that it sucked without him there to me. And the Eddie Kingston CM Punk thing, like for AEW's sake, that was good. And there was good matches. Like it was all around good except for the females match on, Rampage. So there's that. But get SmackDown. The night started with Reigns being back. I am over of the hardest working champ of all time line. I'm tired of that. Pretty sure that's mostly a Pat McAfee thing, but I'm really over it. Because there's people, Punk with all of his defenses, Stone Cold, Triple H. Like there's so many people that defend their title all the time. He has like 16, like what? Not 16, 17 months he's been champ, like nowhere, and he didn't come back until SummerSlam last year. So maybe 15 months, like he's had one a month pretty much. There's people that did a lot harder work when they were champion. Let's go full circle and just bring up Punk's numbers. If there's over 100 defenses in more time, a different time there wasn't COVID, but I mean, since he's been back and there's been people like it, he just hasn't been more than once a month. Different characters, I get that. You didn't have the authority going after him, I get that. But that line's just old. It's just like hearing, Michael Cole say vintage, or Pat McAfee saying, the dirty dogs, or Michael Cole saying, it's boss time. Like, oh, it just hurts your damn head. But he's still on his best run. So I'm not taking anything away from him because literally it's his best run so far. But there's still that. When Roman said, what happens when I'm gone for a week, and the fan that yelled the Usos lost, like, thank God Roman picked that up. Because it was leading exactly what he was saying, but he picked it up. He ran with it. It was good. So, no matter what anyone says, I don't know why people hate him. Like, I didn't like him for the longest time because when they were trying to push him, he just wasn't ready. Like, this one actually works, whether you want to admit it or not. Like, this character compared to all the other ones works. The New Day coming out and interrupting him, and Xavier and Kofi hitting on the table being missing and him being at the top because the table's missing, and Kofi hitting it. Maybe they left it on the island of relevancy, like they're spinning and all that. Head of the table. And all of the talking points for Roman and all them, which plays out good. And later on in the night in the main event, I might add Xavier Woods, like, killed it. Like when he's putting these matches, like he's actually looking really, good. Just again, because he didn't get a lot of moments while he was with the New Day. It was always Kofi and Big E defending for the most part, but I think in his singles matches, like he looked good and he beat Jimmy. And before Jimmy could bend the knee to him, like there comes Roman to just maul him and take out Kofi. So I'm sure when he says, show up next week, that we're going to see Wood show up next week. How are they going to do it? I don't know, but they're not going to, I'm sure that, they're not going to have him not show up. He'll be by himself though. So I don't know how they're going to do it. He stays on the ramp. Does he go in there and get mauled? But the way they had Kofi get taken out the knees, literally, I don't think they're going to have him go out there alone just to get mauled, because that would just be garbage storytelling. But there was good talking back and forth. Roman can talk. We know Xavier can talk. Like, it's always been his thing. We know Kofi could talk. The New Day guys, they could all talk. Jimmy could talk. Roman can talk. Jay, he just overdoes it. But all the references to everything between the two of them, then playing it off, like that was really, really good. So I appreciate that for what it was. And I look forward to next week to see where they go with it. But only time will tell. Again, though, I'll leave for 1 week and we're almost as bad as Raw. Yeah, like the talking at the beginning and all. Like I just didn't like the vibe of last week. I'm sure there's someone that listens to this and didn't appreciate listening to Sasha and Charlotte and just thought it sounded bad and pushed and overly done, overly dramatic and all that. Like you could tell they're overly doing it. Roman, he's not raising his voice, he's just talking, so that was good to me. And Xavier, he's always been in the same tone, which is good. So see what they do with that. I'm not holding out hope, but at least it didn't completely suck. Naomi defeats, Shayna Baszler until Sonya comes out and restarts the match. Naomi gets choked out with the Karavuda clutch. So, didn't technically get the win. Shayna did. So we'll see what they do with that going forward. I know it's going to lead to Naomi against, Naomi's going to go against Sonya at some point. Because she even mentioned if she wins, I might do a match against her. They're hinting that she's finally getting back into the ring. So we'll see what they do there. I mean, I'd like to see her back in there because I thought, what happened with the stalking thing, like one for that. I mean, granted, her and Mandy wasn't the greatest thing, but she could wrestle and she could talk like a crazy person. She couldn't talk. They wouldn't put her in the situation she's in now to talk. So I want to see what they're going to do with all of that. If they could be really good. And what we saw from Sonya in the ring, forever, her style against Naomi's is going to be great. I just don't know if they're, when they're going to, maybe they'll split her. Naomi, that is, and send her with the bloodline because the marriage and all that. So they could put a whole entire different dynamic into SmackDown and have them all there, draped in gold. We'll see what happens. She could use it because she could talk, but I mean, Heyman could talk her up even better, and Jimmy's the better of the two out of him and Jay. So he would, like they have the people that could do it. I just don't know how long they're going to drag this out and when they're going to do it. And I wish Shayna would get better because, her run in NXT, whether she had people or not, like those are still good matches. People still were behind her more than Nia during their tag run, in my opinion, like I was, because they had to go and do that, all that. Like Naomi and Lana. Nia was the one putting people through her tables. Nia and Reggie, like that whole, like Nia's acting was garbage. And Shayna going the whole time, like that's how we all really felt. So that was good. Like for Shayna, but now they have her being the lackey, after they had her take out those people, everyone. Both Eva Marie and Nia, like having her play the lackey, like I don't like it. I think she could do better than that. I'm sure we'll get to it after this is all over. Or beforehand, she keeps doing Sonya's bidding, so she gets put into a title thing, something like that. But I think she's good enough to be up there in the title picture. And again, Sonya's so, like, she was good. Like, again, listen to her talk for this many weeks. Like, they wouldn't still have her there if she couldn't do it. So I'm talking about matches is good. That means sooner or later they might actually lead to it. So see where they go with that. But I really just want to see Sonya get out of this and, wrestle. Again, she played crazy, jealous and all that with, Mandy, and now they're playing into that technically. So they're being abuse of power, like it's the same kind of thing, crazy. So we'll see what they do with it. But I think Shayna can do better. Deserves better. Hopefully it leads to something. And I just want to see Sonya back in the ring. And maybe, all that happens. And then the bloodline comes to defend her, stuff like that. So we'll see. I don't hold out hope with all the most recent releases and everything they're doing. Like I get them, saying they're going to release people, reevaluate people every 6 months and then get rid of them. But I mean, if you're putting people in garbage scenarios and storylines, like what do you expect from people? Like Rusev and Lashley and Lana, like nothing good was coming to that. Nothing looked good in that. Like that was terrible. Theory, technically, how long they drug it, all of them should have been fired. So I don't think 6 months is enough if you put them in dog shit. But is what it is. I do want to say Ridge Holland can talk. It was good to hear him finally, say more than a few words because you never got to hear him talk a lot in NXT. He was just out there to bruise people. And him talking about growing up and, his idol, and his hero being Sheamus. And he's going to bring the same, everything to that. So as he brought up Sheamus and see if we're going to have the two of them just maul each other, which I think would just be great television in general. Great matches. It wouldn't be matches. It'd be two guys just beating on each other. pass the torch on her. So I don't know, but I think that would be really good. Shotzi sounded good on the mic saying, I mean, she's tired of losing matches. Her tag team partner, which I've talked about a lot, sent her up there and, took her away from all kinds of stuff. And that, she's tired of losing and she'll run over everyone that gets in her way and doesn't need her tank to do it. So she looked great, by the way. But again, we all know how I feel like, and while I was in tank battalion before it's, got eradicated from the Marine Corps, so me and tanks, but like she sounded good. She sounded better than when she was young. Oh, your fault. Because I thought her voice was just irritating, but that was good. See what they do with it. Hopefully it's a good run, good push, and so we could really see what she can do. All pending, depending on how it all works out, but I thought it was good. Garza and Humberto, that's what they're known by now, defeated Mansoor and Cesaro, and now they're known by Los Lotharios. I talked about them doing their thing last week for Happy Corbin in that Trick or Street fight. See where they go with that. I mean, they're pushing them. And we always heard about them doing, like the Latino Heat thing with Garza. Now they're both trying to push. Now they're the greatest thing ever. So we'll see what they do with it. I mean, they're both super talented. And them talking didn't hurt my head completely. Again, it didn't seem like they were trying too hard, like Sasha and Charlotte last week. Again, I think they're both talented, Sasha and Charlotte, but it's just, you could tell that they're over trying. But I mean, Mansoor, he's out of, Saudi, so he's back to losing. And I just wish they'd do more. Cesaro, Big E said it. We saw the reports how he can't believe he wasn't a champion. Like I can't either. See where they go with it, but doesn't look like anything good for him. He's just going to keep, enhancing people. Jeff getting interviewed backstage, and there's, so they're talking to Aaliyah. Aaliyah looked great, by the way, and I'm glad to see how. Never mind, I'm glad to see how far she's come. Because you saw her in Breaking Ground, I think was the show on the network when it first debuted. Like, she thought she was going to get canned, like she was right there. And it's good to see how far she's come. Like, I think she could, like, she's really, could be really, really good with all that, see what leads to her and Jeff talking, leads to Sammy and, her asking if he's always like that. And, Sammy's always like that. Jeff says, well, welcomes her to SmackDown. We'll see what happens. McIntyre open challenge gets answered by Ricochet. And he slaps the shit out of, Drew. It's a great match. Ricochet still looked good. And Ali was backstage saying they had a lot in common. He ended up, telling Ali he was a jerk later on backstage. But I mean, Drew in that counter, the moonsault into the Claymore while he was in mid flip, that was great. Care what anyone says, like them to do that. That was good. And it keeps it going. And there's history, though, between Ali and Ricochet, because retribution and all that. So, we'll see what happens with all of that. If they're going to do a tag team rivalry into a tag team, like, I don't know, but they're both super talented. So hopefully do something with them. Corbin and Madcap, and Happy Talk, whatever it's called. I don't know. Viking Raiders are the guests, leads to the match, Madcap and Corbin walk out. So, the Raiders win by count out. Yeah. It'll lead to something later, I'm sure, but it was the Raiders, Viking Raiders debut on SmackDown. So it gave them something, even though it was really nothing. Led to Sammy backstage with Hit Row, how their entrance sucked, the proper way to do it. Top Doll asking Sammy if he could show him how to make an entrance. He says he'll go out there and do it. I don't know what the hell he was doing, flopping all over the place, doing all that. But I mean, he went out and did what he had to do. Hit Row talks him off the stage, but Sammy adding the elder statesman of SmackDown, the longest tenured guy there, to another wrinkle to the conspiracy theory thing, like just to keep adding a little bit to everything like that. I think that's really, really good for him because it proves he can keep going, just adds another wrinkle and, carries on. So I'm okay with that. And then King Woods, like I mentioned, defeated Jimmy, but Roman got in the way. And all that happened. I will say there was a better SmackDown than the week before. There wasn't any overly dramatic Sasha or Charlotte anything talking. Like it just seemed like it was put together better. Again, when those two talk, it's just overly done. Like Charlotte overdoes it and Sasha always overdoes it. You can't just go out there and talk. She has to be like, normal people turn themselves up to, like 11 and just be, a more loud version of themselves. Sasha just oversells it, but they're never going to get rid of her. I'm not complaining. I'm saying she goes somewhere else. Like, really, where could she go though? Because she has gotten better from, hurting people all the time and all that. But Yeah, I thought overall it was a better thing. And Roman saying it was almost as bad as, Raw, ergo last week, which is how I felt, whether it was a line or not. He says he's going out there mostly, unscripted. So apparently, there's some truth to it, but I thought it was bad. So good on that. I overall say it was way better than the week before. Everyone hit on everything. There wasn't a lot of wasted time, which is a really, really good thing. And I want to see what they're going to do with people like Shotzi, Aaliyah. Yeah, those two, just because they're, and Ridge. There's all the guys that got called up and are there now. Because they're all talented. Granted, Shotzi's been there a little longer, but they're all talented. So I'd like to see what they're going to do with all of them. Yeah. In all aspects, there's all kinds of ways they could use them. I just want to see what they're going to do with all of it. If they're going to waste anybody. Heel turns, face turns, and them adding, just announcing the teams for Survivor Series, that kind of irritates the hell out of me because they got rid of the pay-per-view. Yeah, there. So they didn't have like whatever was, like they're getting rid of some shows, which I think they have too many pay-per-views, but just announcing here's the teams. Like they could still build off of all old animosity and then go from there, but they could have started the stories earlier. To me, if they had qualifying matches like they normally do, so people beating people screwing people, like they could have a lot more build to it. Now we're just going to have them build without those matches and animosity, which means they're still going to hopefully build something, but just announcing just seemed lazy to me. Like, because there's enough weeks where they could have built something, at least a little bit on it. That's just me though, and some people I talk to, I felt the same way. But as long as it turns out to be a good match and they prove us all wrong because it's a good match, I'm okay. If you took a pay-per-view out of the lexicon, at least 2 qualifying matches to get on there. We all know how it's going to happen. Andrew's going to say he's the captain. Seth's going to say he's the captain. They're going to have the normal stuff, Seth and Ray with the whole eye thing. Like, there's just so much weirdness there. I just wish they would have done qualifying to build, just to build the stories more. Seems lazy, but that's just me. Moves us on to Rampage, which, Brian, Danielson did defeat Anthony Bowens. And I'm not going to say when he was coming out to the ring, the guy rapping, saying that, he ended, careers quicker than Brian's father-in-law, Johnny Ace. Like, that was a good one. How many people he's let go just in the last, year and a half? Like, was mesmerizing. So good for that. And Bowens corkscrew DDT when Brian missed on the jump for the drop kick in the corner on the second rope, like off the second rope. That was beautiful. Brian did end up winning with him tapping out to the LaBelle lock. I mean, but he still put on a hell of a match against him leading into his match, next week, Saturday with Miro at Full Gear. So I have no problem with that. And again, Brian put on another good match. It was a great way to start out that hour. They say it's the quickest hour in wrestling, professional wrestling, like it is, but they did a good job. Christian Cage and Jungle Express. Yeah, Jurassic Express. See? Yeah, challenging, the Elite. Like, I think that'll be a great match at Full Gear. Just because the talent in the ring, like they'll find a way to make it good because their matches are better. Their storytelling, like they seem to just throw too many in there, so nothing seems more important than the other. Like they didn't even mention, like have the guys that are in the title match at all out there on Rampage talking about it. They talked about it a lot. At least, more than you'd think for people that weren't on the show. But that should be a good one. Punk and Kingston face to face. Good for Kingston on the stick. He did, again, all that was better than Charlotte and Sasha last week. Challenges Punk to a fight at Full Gear. And Kingston's line, but after I beat you, you need to quit for another 7 years. Like, that was just gold. The headbutt after the fight, like them trying to separate everyone, whatever, but it felt very authentic coming out of Eddie. So I loved it. You got to give him credit for that. Like, regardless of anything, like that was good. Regardless of how you feel about him. Punk can talk, Eddie can talk. It felt very authentic and real. Them getting separated and all that was stupid. Him not coming out to his music, whatever. Like, but they built some good stuff. I'd like to see what they're gonna do with it. Now that Eddie was there, they could both talk. Again, better than Sasha and Charlotte did. Way more believable. So let's see what they do with it. I thought it was good. Red Velvet defeated the Bunny, and again, it was a women's match, but the Bunny was way down before Red Velvet even got anywhere near that leg layer, spinning through the air. Jade Cargill was in the front row, scouting her future opponent in the TBS tournament. Velvet's forearm smash straight up missed Bunny's head. So there's a leg layered in a forearm. You can see from the camera, just was nowhere near. I don't know if that's a them problem or a camera problem, but we shouldn't see that's that far off on TV. So most of the people, like the audience, didn't notice, but depending on what angle they were at, but that was bad. And Velvet gets the W even with all that. So I don't know. I mean, maybe people didn't see the Bunny losing with everything going on, but how much people know her compared to Red Velvet, but her against Jade Cargill, I mean, they're not going to have Jade lose. She already beat her once. I don't see her losing. The way they've had her winning, like, what would be the point of her losing now? Like, it just wouldn't make any sense. Doesn't mean they're not going to do it, but it wouldn't make any sense. And then, main event, Adam Cole defeated John Silver, and that was a great match. I don't care what anyone says. Silver held his own. Another great match from him, regardless who he's in the ring with. Like, that was, he's done good. That was good. I'm not to complain about that. Again, that guy, never mind Adam Cole. We all know what he could do, but John Silver is putting on hella good matches. So good on him. Like, that was a great match. I don't care what you say. Like, that was glorious and made up for all the missed. Maybe it's just because it was coming off the woman. So you missed, I saw people dropping before leg lariats got there, missed forearms that people were like, it was, all of that, but it was a hell of a good thing. So great match, great storytelling. And John Silver can really go. Like, that's my favorite thing. Like, he can really, really go. So overall, I mean, it's actually way better than the week before. It does feel like they're a little rushed on Rampage. But again, they have an hour. They're trying to get all kinds of stuff in. Maybe they try to get too much, but they don't waste it with a lot of, talking segments, which is really good. I mean, like Punk and that was the talking segment, but Jurassic Express challenging, the Elite, that was short. Like all of it, like minus Punk and Kingston was short little things here and there, and then it was good. It matches, and their matches make up for everything, storytelling and all that. So, except for the women, but they'll get there. They're going to keep getting there. But overall, better than last week to me. So, tell me what you think. Tell me I'm wrong. I don't think I am. I thought it was way better than last week overall. Friday, night comparison from week to week. Regardless if Roman was there, it just felt more real, less forced when it comes to talking and all that. So that was good. I liked it. I do wish that the women's division would get better, which is why I don't want to see anyone, there's some people that got released that I could see going over there that would help the women's division. But like Charlotte and Sasha and them going over there, I don't know, if you could pick up this many mistakes now with people at almost the same level in the ring together, what the hell are you going to do? You get people that are above that in there. Like, that's just terrifying to me, but overall not bad. So we'll see where they go with the next week. We got, Rod Night at 2.0 tomorrow. We have a whole week of wrestling before we get to Full Gear on, Saturday. So we'll see where they go with that. I'm curious to see how it goes, like, honestly. So we'll see. But that being said, I'm going to get out of here so you guys can listen to this before we get to Raw tomorrow. Whatever you want to do, let me know what you think. I thought it was better than last week, so that's the big thing. It was an improvement, which is good. So I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for checking me out. Thank y'all for listening, watching, whatever it is. Follow along on all the socials. Share it out. That's the big one. Like, share, comment, and repeat on all the videos. Let me know what you think. Share it out there for more people to get to it. No matter what you're listening to, you can share it out. It takes an extra second, but Spotify, anywhere, you can share it. So do that. I appreciate y'all. We'll be hitting on Raw tomorrow. And so enjoy the rest of your night. I look forward to Raw. I look forward to talking to y'all tomorrow. And until then, be good to each other, be kind to each other, enjoy the night, and peace.